What if there was only one police officer in your entire city? What if that police officer watched your every move? What if that same police officer was hundreds of feet tall and could grab your little ass up in a moment's notice? The Militsioner is an upcoming puzzle/platforming game on Steam that explores the ideas of what this type of world might look like. Militsioner starts with a mysterious voice explaining that somebody's lying on your name. You're an average Joe that's done nothing but average shit up to this point, yet somehow you've been accused of a crime. And now we're face to face with Mustache McGee. We get the first taste of the communication system in this game. So this game's main unique mechanic is obviously the giant, but the unique part about him is being able to manipulate his emotions. While talking to the giant, you'll be able to affect his mood. Whatever mood the giant's in will affect the outcomes or responses you'll get from him. For example, the first interaction we have with the giant seems to be moments after being scooped out of your house like an eyelash, and I'll ask if this is usually the time you wake up, what you usually drink in the morning, etc. There doesn't seem to be a wrong answer here other than blinking, which will piss him off and send you straight to jail. After we get put down, we're able to go talk to this guy in here who just seems to be this hand from what we can see. Approaching him, he says, "Bad day, huh?" and informs us that he just seen us on the TV. Mama, we done made it. We tell him we could really use a lawyer, and thankfully he tells us he is one. He asks what we think about the trial, and choosing a confident option leads him to say, "Yeah, sorry, that shit's not happening. You better hit the road, dude." He also mentions that the giant's playing with his food. So we try to tell him we're not a criminal after some waterworks, and he simply asks, "Why would the news lie?" "Well, buddy, I got a few ideas, but I'll keep them to myself for now." After exhausting his dialogue, we give him our hand and he tells us that there is actually a way out. A train comes through town in exactly the 13th hour every day, and luckily he has a spare ticket. He gives us the key to the door behind us, and after walking through the door, boom, his punk ass closes that bitch on us and reveals that he's been on this Diddy shit this whole time. Not only that, but the ticket he said he had, it's a fucking fake. Taking a look around the room, we see a TV that seems to be showing gameplay footage interacting with the giant. More specifically, it shows the mechanic that allows us to give items to the giant and further manipulate his mood. Over on the windowsill are rubles, the main currency that's used to buy items from the shop and the vending machines. Rubles are mostly found around in the houses and garages, but sometimes you can even find them in the potted plants. You can get rubles from selling almost anything at the shop too. I mean pretty much anything. This cat's worth over 200 rubles, and you can even steal TVs, which I think is pretty interesting. And no, it's not because I'm black, you fucker, so you can hold the comment. Back to the Diddy chamber, searching these cabinets we can find some bricks and put them in our inventory. Now before I say what I'm about to say, I want to clarify that all the footage you're seeing is from the early playtest version of the game, which also closes on September 18th, so if you're interested in doing a playthrough, I will do so soon. That's if I even get this out before the 18th. But I say that to say this. As much as I enjoyed this game, there were some irritating bugs in my playthrough that shifted my views on the inventory system over time. The inventory system goes like this. You pick up an item and it's stored in your inventory, but to equip that item, you need to open your inventory manually, drag an item out, and then close the inventory to hold the object. Now, I did my playthrough on a controller because I'm currently states away from home and I don't have my usual mouse and keyboard set up, and over time that inventory shit got annoying. And it wasn't that annoying because I'm on controller per se, it was annoying because you don't actually equip anything, you just hold it. Which in hindsight isn't that much of a problem until you pull a brick out of your inventory to break down a door inside and that motherfucker goes barreling towards a truck at Mach Jesus and pisses off the giant douchebag in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. Another thing is that controller isn't technically fully supported, so I had to navigate the inventory with my mouse and hold the object with the controller while also navigating the menu and settings systems with my mouse because the controller just wasn't supported for it. But with that out of the way, we break out of the Diddy chamber, and I will say I enjoy being able to break certain locks and doors with bricks. It made me feel like MacGyver when a certain door could only be opened under certain conditions, and I still got in the room for some random door that led to a crawl space that led to the room I wanted to get into. So we break out of that musty ass room and we grab the brick again to smash the boards blocking us from town while Big Man with the wet pants writes down our behavior in his giant fucking journal. And that brings me to my first question out of many. Who made that journal and who made his clothes? They're colossal cloths that could easily cover this entire island from what it looks like. And how long has he had this job anyway? Unfortunately, we can't ask him any of this shit, so we just continue on our journey. Right after breaking the boards down, we're introduced to the idea system. This is a main mechanic in the game where certain actions or conversations will unlock new ideas on how to escape. Right next to it is the emotions tab where we get a more in-depth explanation of each of the giant's emotions and how to manage them. They unlock gradually as he feels each emotion, and for some reason I wasn't able to unlock every emotion or even every idea in any one of my playthroughs, but I also wasn't able to unlock the town secrets tab either, even after I found something very interesting later on, so I think they're just locked for now until full release. So right out the gate we get the bright idea of simply just buying a train ticket out of here, so we grab a map and head to the train station, but while walking around there's a few things to notice. First off, this town seems to flood, and often. This can be made apparent by the flood zone signs and all the debris scattered around the town. While walking around, I also noticed all the flyers on the walls, and I was pretty interested in what they said, but I'm a native English speaker and know little to no Russian, so I just translated them, and what I can translate from this one with the cat, it indicates that this guy here is either missing or at least just not at home. It reads, "Evil kitty and kind hands." There's an address on the top right and a statement that reads, "Take the cat home, fish you go." This one just says you. This one with the eye reads, "He plants everything," but I also got a translation that said he's always sad depending on which characters I used, so it's up for interpretation I guess. The only thing I could translate off the one with the hand is simply the word future, which kind of bummed me out because I thought it would give a little more context with the text. The hand and the structure surrounding it, I'm not too sure as to what it could be or what it could mean, but obviously it's got something to do with the future. I also want to point out that this smaller text I just wasn't able to translate because it was just too small. This one stuck to the cat flyer says important and cat on it. This one just says "you are here," and I couldn't translate the other part. And probably the most interesting flyer is this note over here by the shop that reads, "Hey, let's run, don't drink anymore, there's freedom." I'm guessing this note's directed towards the captain who runs the shop, but it could be a general message to anybody who comes across it. Once we arrive at the train station, we meet the cashier, a sporadic and belligerent woman who knows exactly who the fuck we are and wants no part of it. She immediately asks if we're gonna murder her, to which we have multiple options to respond with. Some of the options will put her on high alert immediately, making her call Mr. Damp Pants, which he doesn't answer, while others progress the conversation. Denying the accusations doesn't work, so we shoot her a cheeky wink, but she doesn't fuck with that at all. We could try to convince her to stop calling the giant because we're his friend, but she doesn't believe you. You could tell her to fight for her rights, but she doesn't believe the law would prosecute a perfect patty like her. Yeah, we'll be exploring that option down the line. Exploring her dialogue further and giving her various items reveals that she's actually got a crush on the giant, and one of our ideas is to exploit her feelings so we can get the fuck out of Dodge. But anyway, so far we've got some yummy info for the brain belly. We can assume the giant doesn't answer the cashier's calls because she calls so often being clingy and shit. He obviously doesn't like that, but she fancies him, so we can use that to our advantage. We can also assume that pretty much everybody in the town knows who we are and what we did besides us, which either means we're super guilty and delusional, or we're super innocent and everybody else is delusional. I'd like to think the latter, but we couldn't be that innocent if we can choose these shiesty slick ass comments to say. We also have two ideas on how to get the fuck out of Dodge now. Make the giant happy and convince the cashier we're friends and maybe she'll let me buy a ticket, or we give her something romantical and say it's from the giant. Don't lie, we're cooking guys, these ideas are pretty fire. But there's still the question of how we can pull off any of this bull honky, especially because we only have so many rubles to our name and just a brick in our pants. So the fun begins. Running around the town you can find a variety of buildings to get into, items to find, people to talk to, and lore to uncover. While exploring though, the giant's mood gets shitty if we don't give him stuff he likes every now and again, and if we let it get too far gone then he only wants specific things to cheer him up and it brings on the flood. So yeah, the flood we talked about before is because this giant's a petty ass crybaby and gets upset and basically causes a temper tantrum that literally floods the whole town and ends up killing you. Now with the respawn system, I was pretty confused at first because the first death screen looks something like this. Which led me to believe, okay, so we play somebody new every time and maybe the giant just picks someone that might be a criminal so he can play this cat and mouse type of game. But then I died and the first thing the giant starts talking about is the cashier. He asks what we think about her, and then follows it up by saying he's not fond of her because she's inappropriate with him. He was talking like I had already been up there before, which kinda made me think that even after we die we're playing the same person, but at the start of a new game, if you blink and insult him, he puts you in jail instantly, and you respond as someone new, I'm led to assume, because he leads by saying the last one insulted him and not this time. So I think it's a new person every time. If you need more evidence, after drowning the first time, the giant will comment on it and say that there's still a missing drowned body, that he can't lose his job, which we can respond by saying that he's actually responsible for the death. But back to the gameplay. If you finna go play this after watching, I recommend keeping 2 bricks on you because sometimes a brick will be pretty far from where you need to break something at, and if you're not great at navigating, it's easy to get lost and lose the spot you were at. Not to mention, the inventory system allows for bricks to get pulled out behind boards where they're unreachable, they disappear, and they can get flung halfway across the map faster than you can breathe air into your fucking nostrils. Besides the brick glitches, we can call them glitches, glitch brick, britches, we'll call them britches. Besides the britches, I enjoy creeping around in the NPC's houses, especially since you can interact with every NPC in some kind of way. That's if you're counting this cat too, because technically you can pick it up even though it's basically just a solid asset with 0 animations and 6 meows that play one after the other. Being able to creep the citizens out was pretty fun, and you could watch them sleep too, which might be the best part. Or maybe the best part's the brick murder. This shit caught me off guard.
Ah, fucking do it. Oh.
NPC's houses are pretty crucial in escaping the town though, which further makes me believe we're definitely guilty of whatever the fuck it is that we're accused of, because to get anywhere in this game you basically have to be slime. Not to mention that our character knows how to use lockpicks, even though the beginning of the game suggests our character is boring as hell and has probably never seen a lockpick in their life. You know, speaking of lockpicks though, it's getting dark. I'm starting to wonder if maybe we could just break into the ticket booth after hours. So the motherfucker actually answered the phone for it and I got caught. Go figures. So we start from scratch, with a lot more knowledge, and I feel like this time, maybe I got an ace up my sleeve. Today's his day off, and we could use that to our advantage heavily. We learned from prior experience that on normal days with normal moves, the giant's not as forgiving. Say we commit a crime and don't have an alibi to cover, the giant gets pissed if he knows it's you and will stop at nothing to fuck your whole day up. But today's his day off. He's happy, and so he'll let more shit slide. Also, I forgot to mention, when you die, you get points to spend and upgrade the giant, and you can make it so he'll give you a second chance, even if you do commit a crime. Okay, so boom, it's his day off, and there's 2 ways we can go about this. The friend in the sewer is not that much of a friend, since he tried to get us inducted into the Freak-Off Hall of Fame in the beginning of the game, but also provides info and an alibi. Told us that if we smash the ticket booth window, there's a prize waiting there, which I'm assuming is a train ticket. Or we can get Perfect Patty's ass locked up and go rob her of her sweet treats and train tickets. We could also still just get Patty to sell us a ticket by giving her a perfume or a flower she likes and saying it's from Drench Drawers. Or we could just do all of them on separate playthroughs, and canonically it could be multiverses involved, and maybe we can adapt it into a live action film and we'll make everybody super hip and cool and make the cat into a small marketable plushie targeted towards a younger audience that doesn't have the brain function. Okay, but before that, is there anything else we can learn about our character or this giant motherfucker in the middle of the sea? Maybe some of the locals know something. This smoker guy's chilling. He thinks my parkour is sweet, but he doesn't know much, and I don't even think he knows who I am since he sleeps all day and is awake all night. The cashier doesn't know anything about the giant besides his dick has to be gargantuan. But wait, what about the captain? Giving the captain some champagne and going through his dialogue, he makes a comment stating, he's still growing. Still growing? Grow where? To space? How big can this thing actually get? You know what, I think there's one last place we haven't checked yet to see if we can find some answers. That open manhole that was full of water. While the giant's happy, the manhole drains and we're able to go deeper inside to find a room full of computers and of course a picture of Damp Pants himself. But more interestingly, we get the holy grail of lore. Secret documents, let's go! Every question's gotta be answered now, right? This has got to be the way to unlock the town's secrets. Yes, some answers, finally. Let's open her up. Classified reports on a force that grows beyond control, bound not by law but by its own nature. Sounds ominous. Let's look deeper. Wait, what the fuck? I can't read. Yeah, so at this stage of the game, this is as far as the secret documents go, and I was pretty bummed, but we still have a mission, and that mission has yet to be complete. So let's take advantage of this situation. Well, what we know is that we can rest on a bench and set a time to wait till. So I think what the plan's gonna be is while he's happy, let's smash this fucking window. Old girl's gonna run out into a panic, a boss man gives me a wink and a smile cause it's his day off. And then the plan's simple from here. Set the time to 12, wait till 13, when the train pulls up, grab the ticket and go. Why do we need to do this shit so quick? Because this is what happens when you finally get your hands on a ticket. Alright, home stretch now. Here comes the train. Watch Griffith activate the B-Hillet.
Run, fool.
And we out of there. Are we out of there? Actually? The giant at first immediately tries to stop the train. He panics as the doors start to close and the brakes start to squeal. Not again, he says, as the betrayal he feels surrounds the island like a bad storm. But unexpectedly, he says, I forgive you. He says he'll look out for us and tell the court we stayed in town. We were good, as long as we promise to get on the next train back to town. Do we have a deal, he asks? We do. He answers himself. We do. And that was the Militsioner, gang. What you think? Pretty cool, right? Like I said, I want to post this before the 18th, so whoever's watching gets the chance to playtest the game, so I apologize if this felt rushed or incomplete. I did what I could with this being my first deep dive / lore type of video, or whatever you like to call it. I'd like to explore the lore of this game more in depth when there's more story elements to it, because I think there's a lot of potential here. It's got a very OG Hello Neighbor-esque type of vibe to it, and I would like to see a full-fledged version of this game. If you played Militsioner already and there's something I missed, let me know for future reference. But other than that, I enjoyed playing this game and just exploring around in general. I highly recommend keeping up with this game, wishlisting it, however you want to support it. That's something you're interested in. Yeah, so the video's over, but if you're into shoegaze / alt rock, check out one of the bands I'm in called HALFBLOOM. We have a song out right now and an EP out in the way. Also, my brother BUDDAHVZ is dropping an album called Imperfect October 12th. Check that out. And me, Blend Chips, I make EDM music. I have an album on the way. I also have a page where I make beats called Dgrim Creepa. Check that out and keep an eye out for me and Buddha's band coming real soon. Everything should be linked up in the description. And other than that, yeah, I don't do outros.